Well, happy morning to everybody. Hope you are doing well. We start off our week. The date is July the 2nd, 1987. It's a Thursday. And since it's a Thursday, Thursdays in the Major League Baseball, at least back in the 80s, don't know how it is now, but at least back in the day, Thursday was a lot of time was a travel day for a lot of, for some of the league. So there are not going to be 7 games played today. There's only going to be 5 games played today. So we will be able to play all 5 games on the schedule. 3 of them are on the West Coast. They're going to be at Oakland, at Seattle, and at California. Only 2 that aren't on the West Coast is this game here in Cleveland, and then Minnesota and Kansas City will be game tomorrow. So we go east to west. And then we have, I believe it's Detroit at Seattle, Boston's at Oakland, and I'm trying to remember who's at, I think Milwaukee at California. So those are the 3 West Coast games that'll be later in the week. What that will do, though, for Friday on July the 3rd, there's going to be 9 games because there are 2 double headers. There are 2 double headers on Friday the 3rd. So I'm either going to try to play double headers next week for the July 3rd date, or I'm going to spread the July 3rd 9 games over 2-day period or 2-week period in the channel. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that just yet, but we'll figure it out. Double headers are kind of hard to play all at one time. But maybe we can do it. I don't know. We shall see. Good morning, Mr. Robert. Definitely coffee and baseball. No question about it. So today's game comes to us from the Mistake by the Lake, otherwise known as Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Ballpark effects. Singles are home run. Singles are 11 both sides, left and right. But home runs have a slight variance, 8 for left and 11 for right. This is game 534 overall in the standings. There were a couple of roster moves, 1 for each team. I'm not sure if Searidge either got injured or I'm assuming he went on the disabled list because I don't think it would have sent him down. But he's out. He's off the roster, and Joel McKeon, a left-hand reliever, has taken his spot. And for the Indians, Greg Swindell went on the disabled list, and they brought up former Oriole reliever Sammy Stewart, who was not carded by Strat, but fortunately, the gentleman that sent me these cards early in the year made these nice cards for me. So I do have a Sammy Stewart card right here. So those are the moves there. Not exactly a stellar matchup, but it's on the schedule. White Sox 35 and 39, Cleveland 28 and 48. Look at the pitching matchup. Whoops, I'm missing a pitcher. What happened to, what did I do? I didn't take Bannister out of my envelope, apparently. I thought I brought Bannister up here, and he's getting late coming to the party here. So Floyd Bannister is the starter for the White Sox. Ken Schrom for the Cleveland Indians. Standard lineups pretty much for each side. I did see that Cleveland is mostly using right-handed batters. They do have Castillo at DH, Dempsey catching. So there's no Mel Hall as Joe Carter's in left field. So I guess they're stacking righties against Floyd Bannister is my guess there. So let's look at Ken Schrom, both on the replay and real world. And we'll get a close-up of his 87 card, if I can get it focused right. Ken Schrom, in the 1987 season, was 6-13 with a 6.50 earned run average. In the replay, however, he's doing a little bit better. He is 4-4, and his ERA is only 5.26, so over a 1 point lower. 91 innings pitched, 105 hits, 40 walks, and 37 strikeouts. So when your walks exceed your strikeouts, that's not too good. Leading off for the White Sox will be the little shortstop, Ozzie Guillen. Guillen, the shortstop, will lead it off. He's hitting 277 on the replay, a homer, and 33 driven in. He hit 279 real world. And, of course, before we have the first pitch of the game, we have the ceremonial first sip. And that is some good coffee. All right. And Robert, I think you were working on your setup for your games for your season upcoming. So I think you missed the Colorado game last night, but we had a first. It was a first, no question about it. It would have been a first look for anybody. We had a nameless player pitching to a nameless hitter. in Strat-O-Matic. Both pitcher and batter had to use nameless player cards. That's the first at bat I've ever done like that. So that was really weird. But hey, the Rockies swept the series over the Athletics. That was something. After thinking they might not win a game all year, they win 3 in a row. Go figure. Although it's going to get tougher starting tomorrow night when Milwaukee comes to town. Milwaukee's a much better team. All right, here's Ozzie Guillen. Get a 3-7 for Guillen, and that's a base hit for Ozzie Guillen. He's going to start things off with a base hit. Ken Schrom on his hold is a 0. He is a -1, and Dempsey's a +1, so it's a net 0. So Guillen's going to try for the lead. He needs, that's a 2, though, so it's possible balk or pass ball. We're looking at pass ball, and Dempsey's pass ball rating is a 3. And there's no pass ball, but now that means Guillen cannot get the lead. So Guillen will have to hold. Yes, exactly. Which it should have been more for the Sunday Basic Sunday, because that would have fit more into the U2 theme there, but definitely no names there. I think somebody in the chat did a horse with no name reference as well. So, but hopefully that won't happen very often. I think most of the Brewers are already there. They have all their players. So, all right, here is Gary Redus. Redus on the replay, hitting 243, 4 homers, 15 driven in. He hit 36 real world. That's a 5-6 on Schrom, and it's a fly ball to right, and Corey Snyder puts it away. 1 down. And yes, Tabby she's got an uncanny ability to know when I'm up here. She's had lately been sitting kind of off to herself in a back bedroom down the hall from me upstairs. And I didn't say anything to her. I just came up here and did my normal setup. And before I got 2 seconds into it, here comes Tabby coming in here. So I guess their sense of smell is so good, because I don't think I made a lot of noise. But she knew I was up here. It's uncanny. And of course, looks like she's taking a nap or something. Oh, this is really weird. I gotta show this. This is really something here. Let's see if I can get a view of her here before she decides to wake up. But you can see she's kind of like got her head down, taking a nap there. So hopefully she'll stay quiet for a while. But anyway, that's how close she is to me. That's where she is. Now let me get this back to where I had it. But that's where Tabby is, in case you're curious. Hopefully she stays quiet. All right, so Harold Baines. And I know there's at least one person in the chat that loathes Harold Baines. We won't mention the name. Baines, the designated hitter, as usual. Designated hitter as usual. On the replays, hitting 266, 3 homers, 27 driven in. He hit 293 real world, so he is definitely underperforming. He only has 3 home runs so far, and we're just about halfway through the season. And he had 20 real world, and a lot of players are overperforming on home runs. Harold Baines is definitely underperforming on home runs. So, havoc roll, nothing happening. 1-5 for Baines, and that is a ground ball first base double play. 3-6-3 double play turned by Tabler, Julio Franco, and then back to Tabler. Yeah, Hall of Fame. We got you. There's so many people in the Hall of Fame that shouldn't be there, and there's so many people not in the Hall of Fame that should be there. It's sad, but that's just the way it is. So that's going to do it for the White Sox. They are definitely history. We go to the bottom of the first. It is Chicago nothing, and the Tribe coming to bat. And on the mound for the White Sox, probably their best pitcher, Floyd Bannister, left-hander. Bannister on the 87 season was 16-11 with a 358 earned run average. And on the replay, he is 9-2 with a 2.41 ERA. So he's also a full point less. And he's right up there. I mean, outside of Jimmy Key, he's one of the best pitchers in the replay. 119 innings pitched, 97 hits, 22 walks, 58 strikeouts. So good peripheral numbers there. And leadoff man Brett Butler will start things off for the Tribe. Butler hitting 362 on the replay. 6 homers, 19 driven in. He at 295 real world. So Butler also overperforming. 1-4 against the lefty. That's a split. 1 to 6 will be a single, but it's a 13, so he lines it to Donnie Hill. And there's one away. Brings up Tony Bernazard. Usually hits lower in the order, but they've got him batting second. Maybe they'd like the way he hits Bannister or something. I don't know. But normally he's a lot lower in the order. 4-8, and that's going to be a strikeout. Bannister coming into this game, hitting 238, 9 homers, 35 driven in when he hit 250 real world. And now he can add a strikeout to his total as he strikes out against Bannister. So 2 away for Julio Franco, the shortstop. Franco hitting 286 on the replay, 6 homers, 37 driven in. He hit 319 real world. That's a 6-7, and that's another strikeout for Bannister, his second. 1, 2, 3 go the Tribe. We go to the second inning, no score from Cleveland's Municipal Stadium. Ken Schrom back out. And again, both teams get a boost in their bullpen with a fresh arm as McKeon takes over for the injured Ray Searage, and Sammy Stewart is added to replace the injured Greg Swindell, and they move Bales back from the bullpen up to the rotation to take Swindell's spot. But Sammy Stewart will take over in the bullpen, so they have a fresh arm out there. All right, here's Darryl Boston. Not Boston. Why is Boston up here? It should be Greg Walker. Greg Walker, my bad. Greg Walker is up. Greg Walker is hitting 225 on the replay, 4 homers, 26 driven in. He hit 256 real world. It's a 3-12 for Walker against the righty, and that's a Lomax plus injury. So Walker may be injured. It'll be a game day injury only if it happens. And the way we determine that is the D20. If it's a 1 to 6, he can stay in the game. 7 or 20, he's got to come out. So he's got to come out, and we're going to need a new first baseman for the White Sox. So they've got some options. Let's look at their bench. They have Yvonne Calderon, Carlton Fisk, Jerry Royster, Fred Manrique, and Jerry Hairston. Those are the guys that are on the bench. Fisk can play first base, and so that's what we're going to do. We're going to put Fisk in at first base. He's not as good defensively, obviously. He's a 4.25. So Fisk being a 4.25 at first base for the injured Walker, and he runs at a 10. So 4.25 is what Fisk is going to be, and Fisk will come in and play first base in the second inning. So Fisk will take over for the injured Walker as he hit the Lomax and causes the out. Actually, Lomax went to second base, not first base. I don't know why I have L3 there. It should be L4. L4 is what we should have there. And Walker is out. Here's Darryl Boston. Boston hitting 278 on the replay, 7 homers, 20 driven in. He had 258 real world. 6-12. That's ground ball first base C. So Tribe fans still here. Homage to you. 3-1 put out. And Schrom will flip it over to Tabler for out number 2. And that'll bring up Donnie Hill, switch hitting second baseman. Hill hitting 199 on the replay. 2 homers, 21 driven in. He at 239 real world. Trying to get above the Mendoza line. 6'5". And he might do, well, he will do it for sure. It's an in-home run, but he's got weak power. So it will be a base hit for Donnie Hill. That should get him above the Mendoza line. 2-out single for Donnie Hill. Would have been a home run had he had power, but he just did not. So Schrom's got some power give up right there. That's for sure. 2 down for Steve Lyons, third baseman. He's a jack of all trades, basically. Played second, third, and all 3 outfield positions for the White Sox. Lyons on the replay is hitting 345, just 29 at bats, though. No homers, 3 driven in. He hit 280 real world. 6-8. Schrom will walk him, and that'll continue the inning. First walk issued by Schrom. But it does keep the inning going for the number 8 hitter, Ken Williams. In a clutch situation, Williams will lose a couple of hits, 1-3 and 1-10. Williams on the replay hitting 216, 2 homers, 13 driven in. He's the Joe Carter of the White Sox, as he hit 281 real world, but it's definitely underperforming. And that is, let me pull this out here. It's a 1-9, and that's going to be a ground ball to short, and that will end the inning. So nothing doing there. We go to the bottom of the second. No score from Cleveland. And on the computer, I need to bring in Carlton Fisk to play first base in place of the injured Greg Walker. So Fisk now in at first base. All right. Hello, Jeremiah. Good deal. I mean, I'm using the YouTube app. Unfortunately, that's what kind of I think that's what causes me to have some issues. Is I don't think it's my internet. I think it's the YouTube app that causes problems. That's my personal opinion. But we just live with it. All right, Floyd Bannister back out for the bottom of the second. He'll be facing Mr. Joe Carter. Carter on the replay only hitting 215. 15 homers, 33 driven in. He hit 264 real world. Good morning, John. 5-9, and that is a ground ball to second, one away. Carter had been doing well as of late, but his overall numbers are still grotesque. Pat Tabler, first baseman, hitting 324 on the replay. 5 homers, 38 driven in. He hit 307 real world. 5-8 for Bannister. That's a fly ball to right field, and hauling it in out there is the right fielder. Actually, I've got 2 left fielders listed, so that's not right. Right fielder is Rita. Rita is in right field, not left field. I had that written wrong. That's okay. We got it straightened out now. Here's Brooke Jacoby. Jacoby on the replay is hitting 324, 16 homers, 47 driven in. He had a dead even 300 real world. 1-9 against the lefty, and that's a strikeout. Third strikeout for Bannister. And he takes care of the Tribe in short order. At the end of 2, we got no score from Cleveland. Starting the top of the third, it's the number 9 hitter, Ron Karkovice. Karkovice actually overperforming it, hitting at 158. 2 homers, 8 driven in. He only hit 071 real world. Yes, John, as every single at bat, like that strikeout by Jacoby, I just put it in the computer. So I've got the computer up. I don't know if let me see if I can show this, what I've got here, without messing everything up. But basically, I got the computer right here, and there's the game. We can't see the game now. Let me put the game on the screen. Hopefully that shows what I'm looking at. This is what I'm looking at, and I'm inputting this as I play. With manual entry, I just hit the enter button. The menu comes up, and I can drop down. If I want to strike out, hit an S 4 times, and or 3 times, I get a strikeout. If it's a double, I just hit the D. If it's a ground ball to somebody, I hit ground out, tab down, and put in the fielder. All that good stuff. So that's what I am scoring this as I play it. Most definitely, because I want to be able to read the stats off to you as the game comes along. So yes, that's what I am doing. In case you were curious or anybody else was curious, that is what I'm doing. Scoring it as I play. All right, so again, Karkovice only hitting 071 real world. He's been getting some hits off the pitcher card because his card is completely no hits on his card. That's a 1-4, and that's going to be a fly to center. And Karkovice is out of there, 1 away. And I just put that fly out to center in the computer for Karkovice. In fact, what I can do is when the game's over, I'll flip the webcam back up to the computer. You can see the box score at the end. All right, here's Ozzie Guillen. 4-10 for Guillen, and that's a strikeout for Schrom. That is his first strikeout. First strikeout of the game for Schrom, and here is Gary Reedus. 5-6, and that's a fly ball to right. That'll be taken care of by Corey Snyder, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the third. Still no score from Cleveland. Bottom third of the order for the Tribe, Carmen Castillo, the designated hitter. He's going to lead things off. Castillo hitting 207 on the replay, 4 homers, 11 driven in. He hit 250 real world. That is a 6-8 against the right-hander, and that's a pop-up to Donnie Hill. One away for Corey Snyder. Snyder on the replay is hitting 234, 13 homers, 36 driven in. He hit 236 real world. That is a 1-6 for Snyder against the lefty, and he's going to strike out. That is the 4th strikeout for Bannister. Bannister going for win number 10 on the replay. Here's Rick Dempsey. He's hitting 198, a homer and 12 driven in. That's on the replay. Real world, he had 177. It's a 5-7, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop X. Looking at Guillen, first X check of the game. 2E21. 2 and a 7, he'll get to that, no problem. So let's get our X charts where we need them. 2 and a 7. Should be a G2 or something like that. Let's see. 2 and a 7. Yep, G2. That's definitely good enough with the bases empty. And his error rating's a 21. So we look at 21. 6, 15, and 17 are the numbers to avoid. And he does that with a 13, so he will make the play. And that's going to end the inning. 9 up and 9 down by Floyd Bannister. We go to the 4th. No score from Cleveland. Starting the top of the 4th, it'll be Baines, Fisk, and Boston. Fisk taking over for the injured Greg Walker. So here's Baines. He hit into a double play his first time up. 6-5, and that's going to be an in-home run shot. And, of course, he has the normal power, so that is gone. Ken Schrom gives up the long ball to Harold Baines. For Baines, that is only home run number 4 on the replay. He hit 20 of them real world. And that's a product of Ken Schrom having the straight up, if I can hold it up here, right? Having the straight up in-home runs on 6-5. That's where that came from. Straight up 6-5 on the home run. So Baines homers, White Sox lead 1-0. And here's Carlton Fisk. He's having his first at bat. Fisk hitting 295 on the replay, 7 homers, 27 driven in. He hit 256 real world. It's a 4-7 for Schrom. That's a 1-14 single. 15-20 he lines out. And that's going to be a base hit for Fisk. Of course, Fisk is no threat to run, so he will not be held. And here is Darryl Boston. 3-9 for Boston. That's a walk. And now Schrom's getting into some trouble here in the second time through the order. First and second, nobody out for Donnie Hill. It's a 5-3. That's a fly ball right field X. He's going to depend on Corey Snyder, who's a 2E11. 2 and a 16, he'll get to that. The E11 could be a little bit of an issue. The E11. So we'll check out E11. E11 for a right fielder, he's got to avoid 3, 4, 13, 15, 16, and 18. And that is a 4, so he's going to make the error. Wow. Corey Snyder, E11, and an E11 and a 4 is a 1 base error on Corey Snyder. So that's going to load the bases. And still nobody out. Bases are loaded, nobody out. And the fielding and pitching problems that plague Cleveland all year are rearing their ugly heads. Bases loaded. Bases loaded. And nobody out. They're back for the double play. They need outs. Here's Steve Lyons. 6-8, and that's a walk, and that's going to force in a run. 2-0. And that is the third walk issued by Schrom. And we might be seeing some early bullpen activity, as Schrom still hasn't gotten an out yet in the fourth inning. Base is still loaded for Ken Williams. Infield still double play depth. They need outs. 6-4. It's a catcher X, and that is Rick Dempsey. He's a 3 E13. 3 and a 16. He should escape any pass balls or anything, you would think. 3 and a 16 for a catcher is a foul out, straight old foul out. He's an E3. The only errors are 3, 16, and 18. And it's a 15. He barely got by without the error, but it is a foul out. One away. Big out to get there, no question. Now a double play would get them out of the inning, and they got Ron Karkovice. If you're Cleveland, there's nobody else you'd rather have. He's either going to strike out or hit into a double play, or if it goes off his card, but we'll see. 2-10, and 2-10 is a fly ball left field B ? Possible sacrifice fly, and Boston's got good speed. Left fielder Carter has a -1 arm. So let's see about the speed here of Boston. He's a 16. When it's a fly ball B ? you add 2 to that to make it 18. -1 from the arm is a 17. So 1 to 17, it's going to be a sacrifice fly. 18 to 20, it's an inning-ending double play. And that's a sacrifice fly for Karkovice. Carter's throw not in time. 3-0 Cleveland. So how about that? Even the lowly Ron Karkovice makes a productive out. Go figure. All right. So let's put these in the computer and get them straight. Sack fly to left field. And now with runners at first and second and 2 outs, we're back to the top of the order for Ozzie Guillen. It is 3-0 White Sox. Clutch situation for Guillen. And in the clutch, Guillen looks like he loses 2 hits. 1-2 and 1-5. He loses hits. That's a 5-7, and that's a ground ball second base X. So now they're going to depend on Bernazard to make the play. He's a 4, but that's a 2. That's going to get through for a base hit and score another run. 4 and a 2. I believe it's an SI2. Oops, wrong chart. Let's get the infield. 4 and a 2 is an SI2, so absolutely. So the error by Snyder is going to cost them some more runs. RBI single from Guillen sends Lyons to third. Now we're checking for the error. And Bernazard's an E22, so he's got to avoid 12, 17, and 18, which he does. No error, but it is going to be a base hit, 2 stars. And now the 9th man to bat in the inning, Gary Reedus, steps to the plate. Reedus, 0 for 2. He's flown to right twice. 3-6, and he's going to walk. So they're going to bat around, and that's going to be all for Schrom. Schrom is done. Hello there, Mr. ID. Didn't see you. But that's going to be it for Schrom. He's not. If the team bats around, I'm pulling the pitcher. So Schrom is going to leave, and they're going to bring in the fresh arm of the newly acquired Sammy Stewart. But now I'm going to need to change all these innings because the bat around took care of all that. So Sammy Stewart will come in and face Baines, who led off the inning with the home run. So Stewart will now be on. It is now 4-0 White Sox, but the bases are loaded with 2 outs. And let's see, Stewart is a +3, so that makes him a +4. So Sammy Stewart making his season debut for the Tribe. He was 4-2 with a 5.67 ERA real world and 3 saves. He does have a fatigue factor of 2, so you can give him a couple of innings, perhaps. So now we go to the computer and bring in Mr. Stewart for his initial outing. And Harold Baines in the clutch situation. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Already up 4-0. 2-12 for Baines, and he flies to right to end the inning. But a 4-score Abraham Lincoln inning for the White Sox. We can now close the book on Schrom. Schrom goes 3 2/3. And I'll use the Strat computer to give me the other information that we need. Let's go to that computer. Box score. And Schrom is going to go 3 2/3, 5 hits, 4 runs. Only one of them earned because of the Snyder error, but he had 4 walks. That's what did him in with the walks. And now Cleveland's got a long hill to climb against a tough pitcher in Floyd Bannister to start the bottom of the 4th. They got a long way to go. Butler lined to second his first time up. That is a 4-3, and that is a fly ball left field X. We're looking at Darryl Boston. He's a 2 with an error rating of 4. 2 and a 17. He will get to that. E4, the only error possibilities on an E4 are 3, 4, 15, and 18. And thank you again, ID, for these. That is a 15. Did I say that was one of the error possibilities? Let's see again. E is an E4. And a 15 is right there, a 2-base error. 2-base error on Darryl Boston. E7. Now both teams have committed an error. See if that comes back to bite the White Sox. Butler's aboard. Here is Bernazard. 5-3. Switch hitter batting right. That's a strikeout. Strikeout number 5 for Bannister. 1 away, and that's going to bring up Julio Franco, shortstop. 4-4, right-handed, is a fly ball center field X. We're checking Ken Williams, 2E9. 2 and a 13, he'll get to that. I don't know if that's going to be an F2 or whatever. See, 2 and a 9 is an F2, so potentially a runner could try for third. And Butler has good speed, so he probably will get to third. Williams is an E9 in center field. He's got to avoid 3, 4, 14, 17, and 18. And he does that. But we're going to check the F2 because he can move up. You have the option of moving up here from second to third on an F2. And you just calculate the chances as running speed minus arm. Williams is a 0 arm. Butler's a 16. So basically pretty cut and dry, 1 to 16. And he moves up to third base. So it's a fly to center with Butler tagging and going to third. 2 outs now for Joe Carter. Just the guy you want for a clutch situation, right? In the clutch against the lefties, Joe Carter will lose a couple of hits, 1-9, 1-10. That is a 1-4, and that's a 1-3 home run, but anything else he will fly to left. And he flies to left to end the inning, so the error does not come back to bite Bannister. He pitches around it. We've completed 4. It is White Sox 4 and the Tribe nothing. As Joe Carter fails in the clutch once again. Stewart back out. He'll be facing Fisk, Boston, and Hill. It's a 3-10 for Fisk, and that's a base hit. Carlton Fisk 2 for 2 since coming into the game. Not a threat to run, obviously. Here's Darryl Boston. 2-3 for Boston. That's a pop out to first, and Tabler will secure it for the first out. And that'll send up Donnie Hill. That's a 1. Wild pitch on Stewart to 15. And that will be a wild pitch from Stewart. So wild pitch on Mr. Stewart. Takes the double play out of the equation. Here's Donnie Hill. 3-9 for Hill, and that's a single. There's an anti-clutch, but there's only one out, so the single is going to stand. Single to center field, but Fisk, not running very well, will hold at third base. That's going to put runners at the corners with one out, and that will bring up Steve Lyons. The Tribe infield now is playing in. They're down 4-0. They got to cut the run off. Can't depend on the double play. That's another one, and another wild pitch chance out of Stewart. And 20 is blocked by Dempsey. So the infield is in to try to cut the runoff. That is a 1-10, and that's a fly ball center field B, so another potential sacrifice fly. Center fielder arm, Butler's a 0. But Fisk only runs at a 10, so we add 2 to it to make it a 12. 1-12, they're going to try to score him on a 1-12 sacrifice fly chance. And he does. So the weak arm of Brett Butler does not prohibit Fisk from tagging up and scoring. Add another run to the White Sox total. It is now 5-0. Runner at first, 2 down for Ken Williams. 1-8, and that's a hit by pitch. So he gets plunked. And continue the inning now for another clutch situation for Karkovice. Karkovice is 0 for 1. He does have a sacrifice fly to his credit. 3-7, and that will be a strikeout to end the inning. First strikeout for Stewart. But the wild pitch is directly responsible for the run. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. Now 5-0 White Sox. Floyd Bannister enjoying the run support. He'll be facing Tabler, Carter, and Jacoby here in the bottom of the 5th. On this Monday morning in Cleveland. That's a 4-3. It's fly ball left field X. We're back to Boston again. 2-E4 for Boston. 2-18. He'll get to that. E4, as we saw earlier. 3, 4, 15, and 18 are the numbers to avoid. And he does just that and makes the play. One away. Tabler is out of there. That brings up Jacoby. 1-10 for Jacoby. That's a base hit, and there goes the no-hitter. In the bottom of the 5th, Brooke Jacoby breaks the seal, gets a base hit. Here comes Carmen Castillo. 4-4, and that's a fly ball center field X. We're looking at Williams. He's a 2-E9. 2 and a 7. He'll get to that. E9. He has to avoid on the E9. 3, 4, 14, 17, and 18. Which I think that's a 14, so that looks like an error to me. E9, center fielder. A 14 is a 2-base error, and if my high school math, public school, high school math is correct, that's a 14 on the dice. So it's a 2-base error by Ken Williams, the center fielder. Second outfield error by the White Sox. Bannister's got to wonder what the hell is going on with his outfield. But now it's second and third, only one out. Infield is back because they lead by 5. There's no sense to have the infield in. Here's Corey Snyder. And that's a 5-7. And that's a ground ball shortstop X. That is Guillen. He's a 2E21. 2 and a 10. I believe 2 and a 10 is most likely a G2. Let's see here. 2 and a 10. No, it's actually a G1. 2 and 10 is a G1. E21, and that is a 6 at shortstop. E20, and there's a 6 right there. Yet another error by the White Sox. E21 and a 6. E21 shortstop 6 is 1-base error. Third error of the game on the White Sox. Second error of the inning. And the Tribe get on the board. And Bannister's got to keep shaking his head, wonder what in the world is going on around here. Third error of the game on the White Sox, and we're only in the 5th inning. So here's Rick Dempsey. Runners at the corners, 1 out, infield back for a double play possible. 3-7. And that is going to be a double play. It's a Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play. And let's get a close-up of that tailor-made double play. 3-7 against the left-handed pitcher for Rick Dempsey is that ground ball shortstop A. The plus is irrelevant. It is a 6-4-3 Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play. Giovanni's Tailor Shop in Lemoyne, Pennsylvania. If you have any tailoring needs, be sure to stop by and see them. Tell them Demo sent you. They'll give you a discount. They are the unofficial sponsor of the channel, but the official sponsor of the Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play of the game. And we'll move on to the 6th now. That run was unearned, obviously, off of Bannister due to the 2 errors. Very sloppy play, as they say. So we go to the top of the 6th, and leading things off will be the guy who made one of those errors, Ozzie Guillen. Guillen is 2 for 3. And he will lead it off against Stewart. 5-8 rather. 5-8. Ground ball second base X. We're looking at Bernazard. He's a 4. 4-9. He'll get to that, I do believe. I'll double check it, but I think he's at least good for a G3 on that. 4-9 is a G3. His error is a 22. So he has to avoid 12, 18, and 7. 12, 17, and 18. Whoop, that got held up. Let's redo this. 12, 17, and 18, and he's okay with that. So good play for Bernazard. Takes care of Guillen. 1 down. And that'll send up Gary Reedus. That is a 3-2 for Reedus, and that's a Lomax plus injury. So we could have another injury. Another injury for Reedus, or for the White Sox, rather, potentially. 1-6, he stays in the game. 7 or 20, he's got to come out. And he's coming out. So Gary Reedus will leave. That might actually help the White Sox so they can bring in a better defensive player in the outfield, assuming they have a better defensive player in the outfield. And they're going to bring in Ivan Calderon to play right field. Actually, no, they'll go in. He's ready for left field, so we'll put him in left field. So actually, Reedus was in right field, wasn't he? So it's a natural thing for Calderon to go into right field. So Calderon, who's normally a right fielder anyway, will come in. He's a 3-1 E6 for Calderon, running at a 14. So Calderon will take over in right field in the 6th inning. Second injury for the White Sox. Calderon will replace Reedus. So 2 outs, base is empty for Harold Baines. Baines hit a home run to start the whole mess in the 4th inning. 5-8, and that's a ground ball second base X. We're back to Bernazard. A lot of X chances on these pitchers' cards. For sure. That's a 5. That's going to probably get through for a base hit. In fact, no probably to it. It is a base hit. 4 and a 5 is a base hit. Check for the error. That is a 10, so there's no error there. So Harold Baines sneaks through a base hit due to the limited range of Bernazard. And that'll take it to Carlton Fisk. Baines not held at first. 6-9, and that's a walk, so that continues the inning for Darrell Boston. And now a clutch situation. Boston will lose a hit on 3-8 and on 2-7. That's a 2. Balk or pass ball. We're looking at the balk chance, but he has a 0 balk rating. And we get a 110 for Boston, and that's a ballpark blast for Darrell Boston on a 110 ballpark blast. It's 1-8 here at Cleveland Stadium for lefties. And it's just a deep fly to right, and that saves Cleveland the embarrassment of 3 more runs and ends the inning. So that'll do it for the White Sox. They still lead it, however, 5-1. Bannister back out, and he'll be facing the top of the order, Butler, Bernazard, and Franco. But we do need to make a defensive change and bring Calderon into play right field. place of the injured Reedus. There we go. Actually, a slight defensive upgrade. So Butler, 0 for 2 will lead it off. 1-8 for Butler against the lefty. That's a 1-9 home run. 10-20 flies to right. And that's gone. Brett Butler. Don't think of him as hitting many home runs, particularly against left-handed pitching, but he just did it. That is his 7th home run of the replay. He hit 9 real world. And he hit his 7th right here. On that 1-8 against the lefty, 1-9's a home run. That's a 1. Double die's a 1. Home run for Butler cuts the lead to 5-2. And now that takes us to Bernazard. 6-7, switch hitter batting right-handed, is a strikeout. And that is strikeout number 6 for Bannister. See something here. All right, I think that got, it might have been cut off before, but 6-7 is a strikeout. There's a dot there, but he's not tired. All right, that'll bring up Julio Franco. 4-6 for Franco is a 1-7 single. Anything else he lines to short. And that is a liner right to Ozzie Guillen. 2 down. And that will take us to Mr. Carter. Two outs, base is empty. 1-3 for Carter, and that's a home run. We talk about Joe Carter a lot, how he has underperformed, but Joe Carter has gone deep. There he is, 1-3 against lefties or righties, either side. Pick your favorite. 1-2 and 1-3 are home runs, clean as can be. So Joe Carter, home run. And for Joe Carter, that home run is number 16 on the replay. He had 32 of them real world, so he's pretty much right on pace at home runs. You should be about halfway right around now, and he is halfway. For Bannister, though, these are solo home runs, so they're not really dinging him too bad. It's 5-3, but he's still got a 2-run lead. As we go to Pat Tabler. 1-7 for Tabler, and he's going to ground to short to end the inning. 2 runs, 2 solo home runs, one by Butler, one by Carter. Cut the lead to 5-3. And quietly, Sammy Stewart is doing a nice job out of the bullpen. Going 2 1/3 so far. He's still got some endurance left in him to keep going. Try to eat another inning before going to their next reliever. Top of the 7th, 5-3. White Sox. Here's Donnie Hill. That is a 6-5. Switch hitter batting left, and that's a base on balls. For Stewart, that is his 2nd walk. Leadoff walks can really come back to get you sometime. Computer says Stewart is tired. Don't know if I believe that, but I don't think he should be tired. But we'll keep an eye on it. Bullpen activity for the Tribe. And let's see who the most rested bullpen arm is. Cleveland. They do have left-hander Ed Vandenberg. He's the only lefty out of the bullpen, but he's kind of been overworked a little bit. So, boy, all their bullpen guys have been overworked, except for one. This guy has not been overworked. Doug Jones is loosening the bullpen. And he's got enough endurance to finish the ball game out, need be. But they're going to let Stewart pitch to Lyons. See if he can get out of this. 6-11, and that's a fly ball to right, 1 away. 1 down. And that's going to send up Ken Williams to 6-7. And that is a 1-3 single. Anything else, he lines it to 3rd. So Jacoby looking to snag it on a 4 through 20, which he does. And that is out number 2. Take us to Karkovice. 6-8, and that's a walk. Boy, he walks Karkovice. That's just terrible. That's going to do it for Stewart. They can't watch any more than that. If you walk Karkovice, that means you're done. That means stick a fork in you, you are done. So that's going to be it for Stewart. They will turn to Doug Jones, the rubber arm Doug Jones, and he'll face Ozzie Guillen. So Doug Jones coming on. We'll get the numbers on Jones as soon as we bring him in on the computer in place of Stewart. So Doug Jones, real world, 6-5, 3.15 ERA, 6-5, 3.15 ERA, and he managed 8 saves in the 87 season. On the replay, he's 1-1 with a 2.65 ERA and 1 save, 17 innings pitched, 19 hits, 7 walks, 21 strikeouts. He's there to get the final out of the 7th inning here against Ozzie Guillen in the clutch. And Guillen loses a couple of hits in column 1 in the clutch. First and second, 2 outs. Jones to Guillen, 1-8 is a fly to right, and that will end the inning. So Jones -3 makes him a -2. And nothing doing for the Sox here in the 7th. We go to the 7th inning stretch. It is still, Cleveland still amazingly, it seemed like they've been outplayed quite a bit, but they're still in it, only down by 2 runs, 5-3 as we head to the bottom of the 7th. 7th inning stretch time for Tabby. It's a 7th inning nap time. We'll get the totals on Sammy Stewart, see how he fared when all is said and done. Stewart went 3 innings, 3 hits and a run, so pretty good debut. 3 walks and a strikeout. So Cleveland has walked 7 batters in 7 innings. That's been one of their bigger bugaboos, is not being able to throw strikes. So we'll look at the 7th inning update. And let me see if I can do this without screwing everything up, which might be a challenge, but I'm going to try. See if we can see the box score. Probably not with this, the way it's angled. I'll see if I can bring it in this way. Angle it down where you can see it, but I don't know if you can because the angle's not very good here, is it? Let's see. Can you see that or not? Probably not. Looks like it's too far away. If I can zoom in here. Trying something here. Probably not going to work, but I'm trying it anyway. So let's see. Can you see it or not? Looks like you can see it fairly decently there. 5 runs, 8 hits, 3 errors for the White Sox. 3 runs, 3 hits, and 1 error for the Indians to this point. So that's what we have. And now we'll get ready for the bottom of the 7th. Bannister, this will be his fatigue inning. So we'll keep an eye on that. And due up for the Tribe will be Jacoby, Castillo, and Snyder. Probably pinch hit for Dempsey. Maybe. We'll see, because we're in the 7th inning, so pinch hitting is now allowed. So let's back this up. I zoomed in so much. Let's back this up here and where we can see what's going on. Hopefully we can see what's going on. So let's back this puppy up here. Just trying to zoom in on the computer, so let's back up where we need to be. And hopefully that is, hopefully that's a good spot right there. All right. Bottom of the 7th, Jacoby. Jacoby 1 for 2. And that is a 4-9. 4-9, right-handed. 1's a double. Anything else, he'll just fly out to Ken Williams. And that's what we have. Fly out to center field. Starts the inning. 1 away for Carmen Castillo. 5-10. And that's a ballpark blast for Carmen Castillo. He has normal power. It's 1-11. Could cut it to a 1-run game. Yeah, but he comes up just short. Warning track power, 2 down. Here's Corey Snyder. 5-6. And that's a ballpark blast for Corey Snyder. Again, 1-11. And he comes through. So Corey Snyder goes deep as Bannister might be fading. Cuts the lead to 5-4. Tribe right back in this thing. 3 solo home runs. Actually, yeah, 3 solo home runs have accounted for the last 3 runs of the game for Cleveland. Snyder with home run number 14. He had 33 real world. This is his 14th homer on the replay and his 37th run batted in. It is now 5-4, and you got Rick Dempsey coming up, but do you pinch hit for Dempsey? He hit all of 177. However, there are 2 outs, and bases are empty, so I think we're going to go ahead and let Dempsey hit. As a 6-6, and he's going to get a 1-2 triple, 3-20 single. He will not get a triple. We will modify that to a double if it comes up in the 1-2 category. Otherwise, 3-20 is a single, and it is a single for Rick Dempsey. He is the tying run, and here comes Brett Butler in the White Sox bullpen. Bob James, their closer, is loosening in the bullpen for the White Sox. They have available Jimmy Wynn, Ralph Citarella, lefties Brian Clark and Joel McKeon, and their closer Bob James. And they're not messing around. Bob James, who has a fatigue of 2, is loosening in the bullpen. Remember, this is 87. They can go 2 or 3 innings to get a save. So Bannister now facing Butler with a 5-4 ball game. 5-2 ground ball back to Bannister, and that will end the inning. But we completed 7 innings of play here in Cleveland. Got a good one going, 5-4 White Sox. And I'm not sure if that's going to be it for – that might be it for Bannister. Doug Jones back out for the Tribe, and he'll be facing Calderon to start things off. Calderon is making his initial at bat. He came in when Ritas got injured. So Calderon on the replay hitting 271, 10 homers, 27 driven in. He had 293 real world. His first at bat. 3-4 for Calderon. And that's going to be a ground ball to third. 1 away. So 1 down for Harold Baines. Back up again. Baines. 2 for 4, home run single. See what he can do here. And it's Doug Jones, 5-10. That's a catcher X, and that's Dempsey. He's a 3-E13. Nobody's on base, so 3 and a 4. This is going to probably be a ground out of some sort. Might be a pop out. 3 and a 4 for a catcher. That's actually going to be a ground out. So there's no error. He's an E13, so you can't assume no error. There's a lot of error numbers here. 3, 4, 6, and then 15 through 18. So we need something 7 to 14 in that range. And he gets a 10, so that's going to work just fine. And that will be a ground out, 2-3 to take care of Baines. 2 up, 2 down here in the top of the 8th. Here's Carlton Fisk. 3-5 for Fisk, and that is a ground ball to short. So Doug Jones making short work. Short work of the White Sox. He's retired all 4 he has faced. So he will obviously pitch into the 9th. And now Bannister out, but how long will he put a leash on Bannister? Bob James is ready in the bullpen. Actually, it's Bernazard, not Carter. Got out of order here. Bernazard is going to lead us off, followed by Carter and Franco. Or some followed by Franco and Carter, I should say. So, bottom of the 8th, 5-4 ball game. And due up again is Tony Bernazard, he's 0 for 3. Struck out all 3 times. Got the hat trick. 2-9, and this time he'll get a base hit. And that's going to be it for Bannister. They're going to pull Bannister. Bannister will leave as Joe Carter comes in. Bernazard might be looking to run because Bob James is a +2 hold. But they're going to their closer, Bob James. He's got a +2. Karkovice is a -2, though, so it makes him a 0. So James will be in here. Bannister is going to go 7+, and we'll get the numbers on him at the end of the inning. Bernazard, like I said, might be trying to get a lead, though, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. So we go to the computer to bring in Mr. James. Get his numbers both on the replay and real world. So Bob James, real world, Bob James, 4-6 with a 4.67 ERA. And he saved 10 games. In the replay, he's 1-2 with a 5.47 ERA and 10 saves. 26 innings pitched, 30 hits, 8 walks, 19 strikeouts. He's the closer now. Thickpen will be the closer later in the season, but right now it is Bob James who's the closer. Bernazard is on base. He's going to try for the lead. He needs a 4, 5, or 6 to get the lead. 11, he's out. And he's out. Do you believe that? He tried. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Bernazard, to get the lead is a 4, 5, or 6. He's only out on an 11, and what do we roll but an 11? So you can call it caught stealing, picked off, whatever you want to call it. I call it picked off myself, but you want to call it caught. Either way, he's out, put it that way. So Bernazard is out. What a way for Bob James to come into this ball game and eliminate the base runner just like that. All right, here is, well, not Carter. It should be Franco. Why do they want to keep batting out of order? It is Julio Franco at the plate. That's a 110 for Franco, and that's a base hit. Now, Franco's going to try to get the lead. He needs a 2 through 5 to get the lead. And he gets the lead, so he's going to go. He's a 19. Being held as a 17. 0 effect here. So 1 to 17, he steals second base. And he does. So stolen base for Franco. He is in scoring position as the tying run for Cleveland. We'll get the numbers on Franco as far as stolen bases, both on the replay and real world. Real world, Franco stole 32 bases, got caught 9 times. On the replay, this is stolen base number 11. He's been caught 6 times. So stolen base number 11 for Julio Franco. And he is in scoring position as the tying run with 1 out and Joe Carter. I forgot to put here caught stealing. All right, so Joe Carter is up. Carter homered his last time. 5-10 against James, and that is a ballpark blast once again for Joe Carter. A ballpark blast. 5-10. They could take the lead. A 1 to an 11, and Cleveland will come all the way back to take the lead. And they do not. Joe Carter comes up short, as you would expect. We would expect nothing less from Joe Carter than to come up short. 2 down for Pat Tabler. That's a 2-7, and he singles to right field. Let's see if that ties the game. Franco runs at a 15, not being held as a 16. 2 outs is an 18. Right field arm Calderon's a -1 for a 17, but they are definitely going to send him. 1 to 17, we got a tie game. And we do. He slides in safely, and we are tied at 5 apiece. And Bannister will get a no decision out of this and a blown save for Bob James. We are tied at 5 here in the 8th inning. Pat Tabler comes through with an RBI single. And that'll bring up Jacoby. Brooke Jacoby. 5-5 game. 3-5 for Jacoby, and that's a single. There's an anti-clutch result here, but the runner is not on second base, so the single stands. Single 2 stars will hold up. Runners at the corners. 2 outs now, and it's all up to Carmen Castillo, but he is being called back. They will bring in Mel Hall to pinch hit and stay in the game as the DH. They're going to bring in the lefty. So Mel Hall will be picking up a bat and hitting for Carmen Castillo. Castillo was in there only because of the left-handed starter, but now that he's gone, Mel Hall will be coming on to pinch hit in a huge situation for the Tribe. Let's get the numbers on Hall once we put him on the computer. And, of course, he'll stay in the game as the DH. So let's get Mel Hall in the computer. Not that Castillo's not a good hitter, but Hall is a better hitter, particularly against right-handed pitching. So Mel Hall is on in a huge spot. Runners at the corners. 2 outs. Clutch situation. Hall in the clutch is completely neutral. So Hall on the replay is hitting 288, 12 homers, 33 driven in. He hit 280 real world. James trying to get out of the inning. 2-9 for Hall, and there you go. This channel, I'm telling you, you can expect pinch hitters to get hits. 2-9 is a 1-14 double, 15-20 single. That is going to be a double, 2 stars, so the runner Jacoby will have to hold at third, but the Tribe take the lead. They take the lead on the RBI pinch hit double from Mel Hall. And that'll bring up Corey Snyder, who they will walk intentionally and pitch to Dempsey. So we'll let James walk Corey Snyder intentionally and pitch to Dempsey with the bases loaded and 2 outs. .610, and that is a catcher X for Karkovice. Karkovice is a 2. That is an 18, so that should be a pop-up of some kind, maybe a ground out. Let's see, 2 and an 18 is a G2. He's an E11, so he's got to watch out for that. 3, 11, and 18 are the errors. And so he does not make the error. It's a 2-3 ground out, and that will end the inning. But the Tribe put 2 runs on the board, take a 6-5 lead as we go to the top of the 9th. And Doug Jones looking to close the deal. Won't be a save. It would be a win for Doug Jones. And we will go and get the numbers from the computer on Mr. Bannister, who gets a no decision out of this. So Bob James is on the hook for the loss if the score stays the way it is. Bannister 7+ innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, no walks, 6 strikeouts. James 1 inning pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, and no strikeouts. So James threatening to take the loss. Jones would get the win if the score holds up. It's Boston, Hill, and Lyons due up for the Sox. And I don't believe they have much better on the bench. At least not left-handed. They do have Royster as a decent right-handed hitter. But he's a 265 hitter, but he is right-handed. And you've got lefty switch, and lefty. So I think we're going to stick with those guys. Bottom of the 9th, or top of the 9th, rather. Last chance for the White Sox, who somehow managed to let a 5-0 lead slip away and trail 6-5. Hello, Dr. D. Better late to the party than never, I guess, Dr. D. All right, so Darryl Boston will lead it off. Jones trying to finish the deal and get the win. That is a 5-4 against a left-hander, and that's a fly ball to center field that Butler puts away, one away. One down, and that'll take us to Donnie Hill. 5-3, switch hitter batting left. It's a ground ball, first base C. Another 3-1 ground out just for Tribe fan. 2 quick outs, and now it's all up to Steve, Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh, my. Whoop, that thing slipped right out of my hand. Let's roll this again. There we go. 2-8. 2-8's a single, so they're still alive. 2-8's a single, and I get a pinch runner for Lions. Jones is tired, but they really like him to finish out this game. But he is tired, so we keep an eye on that. But Jerry Royster, I do believe, will come in and pinch run because Lions runs at a 13 with no stolen base threat, where Royster runs at a 13, but he is a stolen base threat. Hairston doesn't run well at all. And they've already used Reedus. Manrique doesn't run all that well either. So looks like they're going to bring Jerry Royster in to pinch run. So Royster will come in and run for Steve Lyons. Question is, do you dare risk trying to get a lead? I think they will. Although it's a 0, so it'll be a 1-13. Boy, you'd hate to end the game with a caught stealing. Who's on deck but Ken Williams? I think they're going to try for the lead here. People may second guess this or first guess this, but I'm trying for the lead here. First off, we got to bring in Reedus. I'm sorry, we've got to bring in Royster to pinch run for Lions. So the only guys left on the bench now for the Sox are Fred Manrique and Jerry Hairston. One of those would pinch hit for Karkovice if we get that far. Royster now, to get the lead, needs a 6 or a 7. He doesn't get the lead, so it's a moot point anyway. All right, here's Ken Williams against Doug Jones, 3-9. And that's a ground ball to short, and the ball game is over. So Doug Jones, yeoman work out of the bullpen, along with Sammy Stewart, both of them yeoman work out of the bullpen. And Cleveland comes all the way back from 5-0 and wins it by the score of 6-5. What a way to start the week here in this replay. Neither of these teams are in contention, so it's not like it's hurting their playoff chances. But if you're the White Sox, you definitely feel like one got away, especially when you have your ace on the mound in Bannister. But you had to pull him. Bannister was becoming ineffective, so he had to be pulled. That's for sure. We'll get our totals for Cleveland: 6 runs, 10 hits, and 1 error. For the White Sox, 5 runs, 9 hits, and 3 errors. Jones ends up winning the game, going 2-1. He's going to go 2 1/3 innings. A hit, nothing else. So probably Stewart and Jones will probably be unavailable tomorrow's game because they pitched a lot of innings there. James will take the loss. He gets his 4th blown save and drops to 1-3 record-wise. Left on base, the White Sox left 12 runners on base. Tribe only 6. So the left on bases, the 3 errors, lots of little things there to cost the White Sox the game. Player of the game, man. For my money, player of the game, it's a co-player of the game. It's these 2 guys right here. These 2 guys came in and pitched 5 1/3 innings, giving up only 4 hits and a run, and allowed their team to come back and actually win this game. So I'm giving co-player of the games to both relief pitchers. Just what I'm calling. All right, we'll look ahead to tomorrow. Like I said, there's only 5 games scheduled there because it's a Thursday. It's a travel day for some teams, so several games are not being played. They are off or rained out or whatever because there are doubleheaders on the next day. But coming up, it'll be the Minnesota Twins traveling to Kansas City to take on the Royals. The last 3 games are all on the West Coast, so we'll try to play them in order, east to west. So we are looking at Minnesota and Kansas City. It'll be an interesting matchup. The knuckleballer Joe Niekro will be on the mound for the Twins, and Brett Saberhagen will be on the mound for the Royals. That'll be tomorrow morning. No game tonight in the Rockies replay because they are off, so I'm taking an off night with them. We'll be back tomorrow night with the Rockies as they start a 3-game series with the Brew Crew in Colorado. So that's going to do it from here. Hope everybody had a wonderful, or is having a wonderful morning, and have a great start to your week. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play. Oh, wait, we got some activity over here. We got life. We have some life. A little bit of life right here. We have woken the sleeping giant. Got a little bit of life right here. So the fluffy cat, there she is, Robert. Fluffy cat. There you go. Fluffy cat. She seems to know when I'm playing. I don't know why, but whenever I come in here, no matter where she is in the house, if I'm coming upstairs to play a game, she manages to find her way to this little perch and sit here and do all our stuff. So anyway, that's going to do it from here. Hope you all have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and we'll see you all down the road.